My guest for the morning is Kamaldeen Abdullahi, and Kamaldeen Abdullahi is the National Nasarawa Coordinator of the MPP, and we're privileged to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Okay. What are you going to do this weekend?
Well, today is Friday. Obviously, I would have to go to the mosque and ask for Allah's blessings. Tomorrow, Saturday, packed day. Supposed to, politics as usual.
Do the interactions.
Do interactions. And Sunday, still politics as usual. I'll be having meetings.
Your position is a unique one. So one of these days, you have to allow us to use the cameras to follow you as you do the interaction with the heads of the Zongo community.
Oh, I wish. But I saw your reporter yesterday with me.
Don't worry. Anytime you're ready, we'll just want to. I grew up in Ashaiman, and so I'm very close to the Zongos as well. And that would be an important thing as well.
I'm happy and most grateful in advance.
Well, okay. Now, we know that there are issues of national importance. The Ghana Medical Association has warned government to stop putting out false information to cause disaffection for doctors. We know why medical doctors are saying that, because their representative, Dr. Yankson, had a difficulty with purportedly a picture of the negotiation, so to speak, or I guess a write-up by a presidential staffer, Standogbe, so to speak, about the negotiations and the demands of the medical doctors as they negotiated with the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations. But essentially, our discussions will begin with a strike action. And what do you first of all make of the strike action?
Well, a very good morning to your cherished viewers out there, and a good morning to your good self. I think it's a very sad news that we had, or it was a very sad news that we had about 2-3 days ago. I remember it was sometime on Wednesday night when the matter came up that they had no option than to issue a statement, saying that yes, we want to go by the rule. I mean, by the ultimatum that we had given to government towards the 29th of July, and indeed, government sat and sat and sat until we got to 29th of July. Maybe they thought the doctors, as usual, would be not a backing bulldogs kind of, or they may not be able to, they're just a backing bulldog, they may not be able to bite. Maybe that is how come government was actually, relaxed or reluctant on pushing home their demands for the doctors and getting it solved. So when on Wednesday the announcement came from the leadership of GMA that yes, we did mention that, or did serve notice to you government that if so and so and so is not put in place for us, we are going to resign and block. However, we're going to put together a roadmap. First, outpatient departments, we're not going to attend to any patient. We would be indoors to take care of the inpatients and also to take care of emergency and all that. However, going forward, if we're not still seeing changes, then we're going to strengthen our stance and ensure that even the inpatient and the emergency would also be withdrawn. I mean, this is very sad. And I'm surprised that a government that claims that we care for the people, because they actually campaigned on this I care for you mantra. We care for you, we are the best, we are for the people, we are this, working for Ghana.
What does that got to do with the medical doctors?
It has got a lot to do, because that was a promise. You see, when you're campaigning or canvassing for votes, indeed you say certain things. That's why you come up with a manifesto. And there in your manifesto, you come out with promises. You tell the people what you're going to do. And of course, theoretically, that's what is going to inform the decision of the people.
You do understand that as far as we're concerned, issues of labor and labor relations really have got nothing to do with whatever you put in the manifesto. The point is the medical doctors, just like the other professionals we have in the public sector, are making certain demands. And don't you think government also would have to look at its financials and say, well, whatever the demands of the medical doctors are, I can't provide them or not?
You see, that is why holistically, we will say that this government, indeed, we've always used this adjective to qualify the government, incompetence and all that, or to describe them. Indeed, that is why we say that holistically, they are non-performing. You know very well that governance is quite a very huge enterprise. And of course, when you take the Constitution of Ghana, I've always said it, and every lawyer will argue, or lawyers will say that it is only the president who has a lot of powers in our Constitution. Look, any appointment, whatever goes on, the president does it. It means that he superintends over the nation as a chief executive officer, as it were. Now you sit down and you have governance to take care of. Labor, like you rightly said, is quite a difficult area to go, because to deal with human beings is quite difficult. However, have you put in place some people, those who are, people who are going to assist you ensure that you are able to know what must go in, what must not go in, and all that, so the people will at least be averagely satisfied, because you can't satisfy them in full. Averagely, they are okay. Have you done that? The question is no. Let me tell you why. As we sit here, teachers at the polytechnics had cause to embark on strike for 4 good months on a simple matter: book and research allowance. I'm not going to pay. I will pay. I'm not going to pay. All this thing went back and forth until they sat home for 4 good months, only for the education minister to come up, deputy education minister or something, to come up to say that, oh, we are going to pay for the book. I mean, what held you back? You could have actually done this, give them a promise,
so
tell them
I'll do it.
So that was not proactivity. That aside, we've had the entire workforce of this country, entire workforce, formal workforce, embarking on one-day strike. It has never happened under this regime. We've had that. Nobody's talking about it. Today, as we speak, state attorneys, who, of course, by law, when you look at the legal act, or so, Legal Services Act, indeed mandates them to be treated as though they were circuit court judges, and then as it were magistrates or whatever court judges they are. But they have, the law says treat them this way. Fine, they are not treated the way they are supposed to be treated. Today, as we speak, they are also on strike. So the Labour Front basically is not satisfied with this government at all. And that is what I'm telling you, from even the workforce, the entire workforce came out to express their discontent about the hardship, about how the economy is being run. Teachers have had problems. Today, as we speak, there's a looming strike again by pharmacists. So ask yourself, hasn't government sat down to do self-introspection? What at all is wrong with my management? What at all is wrong with the way I'm running the state? That each and every day no one is satisfied. You understand? So for me, governance is something that is complex, and it must be, spearheaded by serious people, not unserious people. I sat on a platform with this communication officer for NDC, Solomon and Cancer or who, and he said, he called doctors all sorts of names, saying we have unserious people in this country and all that. No wonder at the end of it, what has been churned out here is total lies, according to the doctors. If communication officers of Solomon, the likes of Solomon Cancer will sit down and try to denigrate doctors and try to downplay whatever demands they have and try to say, create the impression as if they are heartless, which is not so. Roland, do you know the history of this particular matter? It started in November 2014. When you should if you should trace this, November 2014, that the doctor said, look, our conversion, what's the name? The conversion of our premiums and all that, we have problems with it. Our condition of service, we have problem with it. Then they came in to say, look, there's going to come out, they're going to come out with what conditions of service, guidelines, and all that. So they want to do some sort of negotiation. Absolutely. From November 2014 till date, nothing has been done. According to the doctor, they have nothing on the table. They don't have anything at hand to rely on. So who is causing it? Well,
Kamal, for example, according to what was put on Facebook, they said is a lie. They want a clothing allowance, 30% of basic salary, professional allowance of 50% of basic salary, fuel, and that's for just senior housemen, and senior medical officer, 80 gallons per month. They have specialists who want 90 gallons per month, senior specialists and consultant wanting 100 gallons per month, etc. Even though the members have said these negotiated allowances or sums are speculative, they also found it offensive and unfortunate. We do understand all that. But at the end of the day, we have to look at the level of austerity that as a country we need to embark on and say our finances are not good enough. Great. And as a result of that, even though you're a professional, you also need to empathize. Is that not it? Is that not why essentially we feel that we should be patriotic?
I can tell you that doctors and other labor force in this country have always been patriotic. If you are not patriotic, I don't think there's anybody. That's why I said averagely we should be satisfied. You can't be fully satisfied anyway. So, in fact, under any condition you find yourself, okay, and working in this country, is deemed to mean that it's not totally, as it were, cushioned. That is where I would say your patriotism comes in, because there's some amount of sacrifice. Okay? When you look at how much a doctor takes per the report that we have, and per the single spine structure that has been brought, they don't take more than 2,300 or 2,500 thereabout. Frankly speaking, if you go to see a businessman, a private businessman who is out there, maybe dealing into this buying and selling and all that, there are those who can save up to 3,000, 4,000 Ghana cedis than doctors. But yet the doctor goes to do overtime in late night when you are sleeping and snoring. The doctor is struggling in a theater with a particular patient. The doctor is struggling at an emergency unit with a particular patient and all that. And of course, we as a people know how important and imperative health sector is. Therefore, we should have even pushed further to see how their conditions of services would actually be ameliorated. That we haven't done. So when you talk of patriotism, already we are patriotic. People are very patriotic. It is left for those who are supposed to be in the driver's seat to ensure that, yes, do something to meet them halfway so they can move on and go further. So for me, I agree. So to spend the picture as though the people are not patriotic and they don't care for the people, for me, it's bad and it's sad. You can't put them in that light. The doctors have come out to say that, look, we've told you, let's go through this systematically. Even prior to this strike that they've announced, 21st of July, they served notice to government.
Yes, they did.
Did you want us to do, what do you want us to do? You are quiet. Until 29th, are you taking them for granted? And yet when they embark on strike, you are the first people to call them murderers. I heard an NDC person. Is it Frederick Banyo or whoever? Later he came out to be apologizing or something, talking about doctors being murderers when they embark on the first strike. And I heard them again saying that it is MPP that is pushing them to go on strike. I mean, it's just unheard of. It's uncalled for. You can't sit down and want to paint the whole GMA, with a political color. It's sad.
To you, it doesn't work. Okay.
It doesn't work. It's not proper.
But now it seems that government, through the ministry, is trying to make sure the dialogue is coming to a certain head start and also a certain conclusion.
What were they doing? Were they sleeping?
They also want to make sure that there's some resolution to your own parts as far as the difficulties they have.
Were they sleeping? Look, this government, they ought to be proactive. This reactive way of doing things is just rather too much.
How reactive is it?
Look, they wait until, look, there's this firefighting approach by the government led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on every issue or any issue that comes before them. Look, when you come out and give them time to work on something, I don't know whether it's lack of competence or what, or it's ineptness they're actually, showing so well. Because when you give them something, aforetime, they're supposed to look at it. They will not. They will wait until there's a problem, then they will come out and spew out lies, like what Standogbe has done. Complete lies, pure lies. And you don't do that. The next moment, what they will do is that they will use the social media, put it there and tell you, oh, that one is not too authentic. Somebody might have hijacked my, as it were, hacked into my account. Somebody might have done it. They will go all out to deny it again, trying to incite people against the very people who are very legitimate in terms of their cause. So for me, I think that this knee-jerk way of doing things must stop. This government have proven that they can never be proactive on any matter. We have been sitting in this country, like I told you, strike upon strike. I'm sure that's the only language they understand. Strike upon strikes will happen just because of the negligence of government. So for me, I don't blame anybody. I blame the government of the day for not being proactive on matters.
We'll see how that goes. But already, the Medical Association has come out and said they are not going to call off the nationwide strike. They say their July 30 strike is to compel government to provide them with a document of their conditions of service. And according to the report we're monitoring in the media, there's not been any conclusion to their negotiations. The strike has already have a significant biting effect across the country, across all medical facilities, and their action has forced the management of the Kolibu Teaching Hospital, for example, and other government health facilities across the country to suspend services at various OPDs or outpatient departments, though they are taking care of emergency services. And Dr. Frank Srebo, who is the General Secretary of the GMA, is explaining, or has been explaining to the media, they are not prepared to back down unless their concerns are fully addressed. And this is what they said. The Executive Committee of the Council cannot rescind this decision because it was taken by the General Assembly. So what they can do is to call for another extraordinary General Assembly meeting and ask members to look at the decision and see whether there's any room to maneuver. And it's almost like a hat stand that the Medical doctors have taken. Be it as it may, they have this Hippocratic oath that really states that they have to be committed to saving lives.
But they are also lives. The doctors are lives themselves, are they not?
Well, they are human beings.
Doctors die.
Well, they do.
Doctors fall sick.
Well, they do.
Absolutely. So they also need to live, and they need to succeed. You see, the point is that we shouldn't talk as if doctors are not like us as well. They are human beings. Sadly, I'm not a doctor, but I'm not speaking for them. I'm not a PR. But the point is that where the truth is, let's talk about it. All of us are affected if doctors are on strike. And if doctors indeed are not well served, and they say that we are laying down our tools and moving out, we are all affected. Myself, I'm a potential sickler. You are a potential sickler. Each and everyone there must be concerned. You see, there was an interview I followed in the media yesterday on TV. A gentleman, I think an ex-military man, went to the Kwalebu teaching hospital yesterday, and only to be told that outpatient is not attended to and all that. Then the media man asked, oh, what does he think about the strike? He asked the media man, he said, if you work and they don't pay you, will you continue to work? This is a sick person coming to seek, as it were, medical assistance. And when he was told, he should have been so much worried and maybe turn his frustration on doctors. He said, no, that if you, the media man, interview me, if you are not paid, will you work? Then the media man was looking at him. He said, look, I'm a soldier man. I've been a soldier man before. If I were not paid to do my work, I would not have been there. So pay the doctors or give them what they want and let them come and take care of us. This is a sick person, and this is the kind of people we want. This is the truth he's talking about. I sit here, somebody might think, oh, he's an MPP man, so he's talking to help doctors. It's not so. It must not be political at all. That is why I cited Suleiman Kansa when he said that they were politicians and all sorts of things. I cited him I cited him as someone who is espousing what is wrong. The point is that don't try to draw in politics. Doctors, when they don't work, MP people get sick, NDC gets sick, CPP gets sick. So whoever is supposed to ensure that we have doctors at post must do what it takes to put doctors at post. That is what is important and what's paramount.
All right. I see you're very hot this morning.
Very, very. It's just sad. Okay. I mean, it's not proper. When some people want to insult them, some even say they are heartless and that they have sworn hypocritical, as it were, oath, and therefore they should not. They should empathize with people. They should try to sympathize. Yes, they do. But if you don't let them feel at home, they cannot actually work. This same government, NDC government, prior to 2000, before we came, they said they were going to fight brain drain. Is that how we fight brain drain? Is that how we fight brain drain? Today, as we said, 2,000 nurses from the training college
have not been absorbed.
They are home, going stale. They are home, going stale, as a result of this incompetent government. Doctors, of course, gradually are not also happy. So are you telling me if you have a daughter who has just finished with her degree in nursing and sitting home, that you have an opportunity to ensure that she gets employed maybe in a foreign country, you will not assist her to go? Because you wouldn't like to have a daughter who is actually a liability on you and who has what it takes to bring home money. So the brain drain they were talking about, have they fought it? You see, NDC is rhetorics, full of talks.
Okay.
They can never...